Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Avengers. This is Black Widow. Black Widow, unlike the Iron Man and the Hulk that we had to look at least she does come with her batons. So she is the only other figure to come with accessories than the Captain America that we started these video reviews looking at. With her batons, and also just by the size of the figure, she does have a warning choking hazard. Small parts, not for children under 3 years of age. It's recommended for ages 4 and up. Back of the package, Black Widow joins the fight for justice as an elite agent and skilled combatant. Also look for Captain America, Iron Man, and Hulk, all of which we have had a look at on this channel. And to check out more from the folks over at Hasbro, key this in on the interweb, www.hasbro.com/Avengers. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up, but when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the new Avengers, Black Widow. There's more heading away, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. For Black Widow's accessories, she comes with not one, but 2 of her batons. The batons can fit into her hands. Let's go ahead and get those in right now. Like that. And the other one in place like that. They sit fairly secure, and they don't feel loose or anything like that. So at least she does come with batons. I like that. I like when companies do throw accessories in. Even if it's accessories I'm not going to plan on using or displaying with the figure, little bit things like accessories go a long way for me. So take those out of her hands and put them to the side. Okay, so she's not the greatest of figures. Let's kind of get that out of the way first. I guess the conflict, majority-wise, the conflict starts sort of with her face. It's not the greatest of face sculpts, but I really don't know what they're basing the material from. She has a very skinny nose and a very narrow face. I guess the face wouldn't be so bad if the hair wasn't as shiny as it is. I have no idea what product she's putting in her hair, but if it's vegetable oil, I would say lay off. It's making your hair way too shiny, Black Widow. Way too shiny. Maybe that's the part that's throwing me off. It also kind of looks like she's eating a really sour lemon candy. Or she's just eating like a throat lozenge. Maybe there's a throat lozenge in her mouth right now. The side doesn't look too bad, but the front kind of looks slightly disastrous. Her outfit is somewhat Black Widow outfit, or costume-wise. So you've got the Black Widow symbol at the top on her torso. It's not a black costume, it's more like a kind of bluish gray. And then she's got little accents there on her elbow pads, on her gauntlets by her arms, her belt, and her knees. Nice gray, just to kind of break that up so it's just not all the same coloring from head to toe. Don't really have any issues with the paint. The paint for the most part is pretty clean. Like a little imperfection on the elbow pad, but that might have just been the way it came out. Like it looks like it was attached to something. It's even on both elbows, but so that's a little small thing. Size comparison. Let's compare her to a couple of the other figures that we looked at. There she is next to Captain America. She's about the same height, maybe, well, a little bit shorter than Cap. And he's a lot broader of a figure as well than Black Widow. Comparing her next to Tony Stark. And a much smaller looking build. And then comparing her to the much beefier Hulk. Yeah, big scale comparison. These figures are also the same price point. I would not expect them to start shaving down price points for a smaller figure. You could use the argument, well, the plastic that they used is the same. She should have been a lot less. But by virtue of that, you know, the plastic of Hulk is a lot more than Iron Man. Should Hulk have cost more than Iron Man? So, you know, it's all relative, really. Put him to the side, bring her back in. Now, I'll tell you one thing that bothers me about this line. And I mentioned this before when we looked at really all the other figures, was the posability limitation. Black Widow, for example, let's just kind of, I'll hold that thought. We'll go through it, and then when we get to the point I'm going to talk about, you'll basically be that you'll know what I'm talking about. So like her head is on a ball joint, it does rotate all the way around. hinges up and down. Her hair slightly gets in the way. I mean, it's to be expected, just by virtue of the way that the hair is sculpted. Arms hinge out. It does rotate all the way around. She does have a bend in the elbow. Because she is also a little thinner of a framed figure, areas such as her elbows feel just like a little looser. You know, it just feels like a little bit more flimsier of a figure. Doesn't have any hand articulation, but just elbow. Rotates at the forearm and then hinges at the shoulders. Normally, what you would expect with the other figures based on the other ones that we looked at, leg goes forward, leg goes back. In this case, not so much, but leg goes forward, leg goes back. In the case of Black Widow, however, her legs also hinge out. Okay, so her legs hinge out. So clearly, they had the means to incorporate that into figures. Why they couldn't have done that with the other male figures is beyond me. I guess they thought to themselves, well, we're using less plastic material, let's incorporate a hinge because we can, we can save the cost on the material. We'll spend that little extra give or leg posability. But why would you give her leg posability and not simply do that for all the figures? If the figures had knee articulation, she's a little harder because her legs are so thin. If you gave her knee articulation, it would make for a very flimsy figure. She stands okay, as you can see. Knee articulation would eventually make a very loose knee in the figure. So I appreciate this, but why couldn't this have been done also in the male figures as well? It's like you're just burns my gravy when companies do it on some figures and then they don't do it on others. McFarlane does this as well all the time. Some figures will have posability, other figures completely omitted from it. I just don't see why they don't stay consistent with all the figures across the board. As a whole, Black Widow is a mixed bag. She's okay. The face sculpt I think could have had some work on, but at least she has leg articulation, which is something sadly that her male teammates of the Avengers sadly did not have, and I don't know why. Today, though, we were having a look at the final figure from the new Avengers, somewhat new Avengers line from the folks over at Hasbro. This was Avengers member Black Widow. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way as well. Thanks for watching. See you next time.